Questions? This is a cool technique. I have used this technique probably more. These two techniques that I told you today, I'm teaching you because I've used them tirelessly in several different dental offices for different things, and in my therapy room for years. You know, they're always very, very effective. If they're not, there was something that wasn't quite right, either in the anchoring process or your rapport building, or you didn't get into it. See, if you get into it and you hone in and you tell the person to feel all these things and you're really using your voice to improve what you're communicating, it will work. Cool? Questions about the actual use of the technique? Is everybody pretty, it's pretty simple, right? We're taking it out of wherever it was. Doesn't matter where it is. For her, it had an actual physical aspect of it. It had pain all the way down their arm. Right? So today we get these awesome volunteers that we get to actually test some stuff with, right? I love also for you to let me know, if this thing works amazingly, and you catch yourself succeeding in the next few days, and you're like, well, you know what? Normally I would have just blown up right there, but now today, just slides off like nothing, like water, right? The blue feeling fills you up. You close that hand with the intent of feeling good, and it's like, wow, it feels good, blue. Right? So let me know. I love for you to be like, oh, you know what? It worked in the right there while we were doing the exercise. It was great, but then I got to the office and it was awful. I'd love to know even that, because it's all testing. It's a practice. That's what we call it, a practice, right? We do things and it's like, oh, that didn't work so well. Well, let's do this. But for the most part, I find that those two techniques are spot on. So we identified the source. We rated it. We took it out by letting him think that it's magnetic, some sort of construct. That's what I use as a magnet. When it's out, we let them know that they can no longer bother inside. So they're only focused on their hand. Okay, I need you to stop thinking about what's inside. Just focus on that. That's where the feelings are. Then we started giving it features by asking, if it had a shape, what shape would it be? If it had a color, what color? If it had a temperature, what temperature? If it had a texture, what texture? I find that 4 or 5 things are good enough. It gets hard to remember a lot of things if you have like 8 different features, and then you have to be like, okay, well, we have this oval that's blue, that's water, that is, and then you have 6 other features to go. It's too much. Yeah. Synesthesia works with all of these. Synesthesia, again, is when we join these senses. So when we're asking the person to think of a feeling in terms of an object, we're already starting to create a different sense of that feeling. Then that object, what color would you say it is a visual thing. What shape would you say it is a kinesthetic thing. Right? So they're joining things, and you get them into it. You say, okay, well, if it was a star shaped with all these pointy things and it was red, imagine that you're smoothing out those corners like it's clay, and act it out. If they have their eyes open, they're looking at you, don't look at them and be like, why are you not doing this? Be like, smooth out those corners. That's right. Do it like that. And the person will see you and get into it. And when they get into it, it's in their body and synesthesia is happening, and it becomes effective. Okay? Questions, anyone? You want to try this technique? Yeah? This technique is really simple. I urge you to try it, and I urge you to try it as much as possible from now on for different things, because you'll learn to do it automatically for yourself. You'll learn to be like, oh, I didn't like how I felt, and you'd be like, okay, boom, okay, and you're gone. Because you've kind of like, it's a process that is really simple. Once you understand it, it's like mindless. It's very simple. But if you don't know about it, if you don't follow certain steps, then it doesn't really work. All right, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to practice. So let's do it again. Turn around or work with whoever you're working. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. No? Good? All right. Let's do it. A little practice. And if you want to work with... You want to work up here? Yeah, come on, work up here if you want. Let's do it. Let's finish this up because I have... class is over. All right. Everybody back to your seats for just a minute. Let me just dismiss you really quick. We only have just we're out of time. But I'm going to spend 2 minutes just greeting you and saying goodbye. And thank you so much for coming. I know we didn't get to really go into this technique with more depth I wish we did. But hopefully some of you at least will join me in Lake Tahoe. We will go through this technique and several more to a depth that you will feel comfortable using the techniques at your office, okay? Now, I urge you to practice what you learned today. Even the anchor collapse and this pain as an object technique, practice it in the shower, practice it with your kids, practice it with your husband, practice it with a friend, practice it with each other or somebody else in the office. Hey, let me teach you this crazy technique I learned. Let me just say it a few times because I need to speak it before I can actually do it with a patient, okay? If you try to do this with a patient right away, you will probably feel like you have to have a foot surgically removed from your mouth a few times. And that's not the point. The point is that you feel comfortable and you feel good in your own skin enough to use the techniques and be effective, yeah? If you're too up here thinking about what is it that I need to say next because you just learned this technique, then you don't have the right presence to be there and actually notice what the person is giving you and be able to respond. Yeah? So, practice is the only thing that will give you that. You're saying these things in the shower. Okay, well, if you were to think of that feeling in terms of a shape, what shape would it be? It's way different than saying, okay, that feeling you have in your hand, what shape is it? Right? Let me ask you this. If you were to think of that feeling in terms of a shape, in terms of a color, in terms of a texture, what texture would you give it? Make sense? Open, permissive, and vague, letting them fill in the blanks. Okay, we're out of time. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to get some feedback from you guys about what happened. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sorry? Thank you. What was that?
Do you have all these techniques in your bag?
Yes, no, the actual techniques, pain as an object and collapse of anchors are not on here. This is more the background information that makes it all work. So the minutiae of language, where to put each word before another one, like the order of things and other techniques. So not only I would, sorry, yeah, the pain as an object is the last one we did, and collapsing of anchors is the one we did. No, the book, the paper. Everyone, the paper book is not free. If you'd like to exchange it for me, I'll exchange it for $20. It's $25 on Amazon if you want to buy it. Of course, if you did sign up for the email list, you gotta get it digitally. But I know some people like to have the paper book, so I'm here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me grab my card reader from back there. And if anybody's interested in these audios, I do have just a few of them left. There's 6 of them left, I think.